going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Six Rings Kane Show. It is game week, baby. It's finally here. We're excited. I think everybody is ready to go at the anticipation for the Mario Cristobal era to get going. I'm so excited about this. I can't wait to be out there on Saturday and watch them run through the smoke with Coach Cristobal and the whole entire staff. And just it feels like a rejuvenated team. Just listening to the guys speak. I know, Blue, that you're in contact with some of the players on a regular basis. You speak to them. They are probably really excited for this season. And, of course, validation that everything that they're doing is for this specific moment now, right? High expectations. Regardless of what everybody thinks or what everybody says, there is high expectations for this football program. But there's also for the fans that aren't crazy, which we all are. There's also proceed with caution, right? There's kind of like I want to see some validation on the field. So I'm really excited about that. I want to get your takes on it. But before we do that, really quick, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Manscaped, that we all know very well here. Real quick on Manscaped, it's fantasy football time, right? So, fellas, fantasy football draft season is right around the corner. CeeDee Lamb is good. By the way, I drafted CeeDee Lamb in one of my leagues, in Max's league. CeeDee Lamb is good, but have you seen these beautiful balls? It's time to get your snake looking right for this snake draft. With the sponsors of today's show, Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming, have created a championship lineup with their Performance Package 4.0. Join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get ready for kickoff by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code 5RSN. That's the number 5 and the letters RSN. 5RSN is the code. It will get you 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com. That's 20% off. That's really good. The things that they sell, these products that they sell are absolutely fantastic. Blue, you know a little bit about those, right?
Shoot, I use them all the time, man. It's the best. It's the best. Safest, too. And it's, tell you what, using it in the shower is a huge plus. And we all know how much of a pain that could be. But, yeah, no, you're right. I know that it's something that we never used to talk about, but now you have to. I mean, because this is the way of life. And certainly you want to be going out into the next phase of your life looking good and feeling good.
You want to go, you want to show up to Hard Rock Stadium feeling good. Feeling good. You know, it's hot out there. You want to make sure you're comfortable, right? I mean, it is what it is, fellas, you know? So make sure you go to manscaped.com, get 20% off with free shipping with the code 5RSN. It's time to put the PP back in PPR and get a grip on your pigskin this season with Manscaped. Fellas, game week is here. Before we get to our giveaway, we definitely want to do our contest giveaway, which, by the way, we appreciate everybody who participated in the contest over on our Instagram page and on Twitter. So we do appreciate it. We'll definitely do that in just a second. But first, I want to get everybody's kind of not expectation, but like, how do you feel, right? Is there a different feeling to this week, this season, 2022, the Mario Cristobal era begins? I mean, I'm actually going to go the other way around. I'm going to start with DJ here. Like, DJ, you love college football, period. Like, how do you feel about this season with the Miami Hurricanes? Are you excited? Do the fans have something to really be excited about?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've just seen this offseason how much energy Mario has injected into the program. It's been crazy to see just the level of excitement that everybody has from recruiting rankings to player news to, little tidbits that we get to hear. The fans have loved the offseason news. Now imagine, finally seeing all of that come to fruition beginning on Saturday. I know I'm really excited to see this era begin. There's been a lot of build-up surrounding it, and now we get to see what it's all about. How can you not be excited?
Jazz got so excited he forgot to unmute himself.
Jazz is speechless.
I did. I got super excited. Thank God, because I was clearing my throat anyway. So, Vish, I mean, we've all been waiting for this. Blue, Vish, myself, DJ. I mean, the Canes fans have been waiting 20 years for something to really, really. I mean, this feels different. And I'm not talking about, hey, we're going to win a national championship, but this just the aura, the feeling, the vibe around this program is a little bit different this year, right, Vish?
Yeah, the vibe is different. The the quality of coaching staff is different. I mean, if you mentioned 20 years, it's been that long since there's this caliber top to bottom staff. And I think the other thing that makes me excited, obviously, like these things take a while to pay off, right? You're stacking recruiting classes and all that, but the team wasn't that far away last year. And frankly, the coaching was pretty atrocious, especially defensively. The head coach was trying to be the defensive coordinator. We stretched too thin. It caused cascading problems. The defense was really bad, and it shouldn't have been that bad. Like, lost all the ACC losses were by combined 8 points. It's not going to take much to tip it over and put together a really good record in a big season. So that's why I think, like you said, not necessarily there's going to be a national championship, certainly not this year, but I feel like there was so much untapped potential within the program that now that we have the right pieces in place, we're doing the right things. To me, the other times it was more hopeful, wishing maybe this will work, maybe this coach will get it. To me, and now it feels inevitable. This is going to work, and that's where I'm at right now.
That's a good way to put it. Blue, you're around the program a lot. You know Mario Cristobal really well. Coach Potts and all the coaches on that staff really well. The vibe is different, as we've mentioned, but how do you feel? And obviously we'll go into our season outlook and we'll talk about Bethune Cookman in just a second. But how do you feel about how everything is kind of lining up for this program right now? Are you excited? Do you feel like there's a different vibe around this campus, around this program? And do you think that this is something that, it could potentially get us back to where we want to be, where we were 20 years ago?
Yeah. Well, the feeling is that you're building for the future and building for the present. And that's what has happened. The transfer portal has allowed that to happen, where you start getting some people to fill some of the holes that perhaps you wouldn't have been able to do for another year if there wasn't a transfer portal. So the excitement is real. It's like you guys said, it hasn't been like this in a while. Yeah, we welcome Rick. Yeah, we welcome Manny and also Al Golden, and we were anticipating a lot of positive things to happen. But I don't think it's really been at this level before, because of the fact that you have somebody who really has established himself outside the school, and he brought in a lot of guys who also established themselves outside the school. But yet there's so much love for one another. Everybody's on the same page, down to a Jason Taylor or a Roland Smith, or you have the best of the best now. I mean, there's no excuses as far as I remember the one question that Mario had asked me. He goes, Miami been getting these kids, but how come they don't develop? And I said, well, because they haven't been coaching them up. And the one thing he said to me is that won't be a problem now. And you got to like that, because you have the marquee kids. You have the athletes, you have the talent. And I was just reminded by that with Mark Pope, who just went back into the transfer portal from Jackson State. So
crazy.
Yeah, we were he was supposed to be the savior, and I just don't think, I'm not going to take a shot at any of the coaches, but I don't think he was ever coached up. I really don't. I just think that they let him kind of rely on the talent that he had, and they never pushed him to that next level. And that's what happened. Now heaven knows where he's going to go now. But that's the difference now, because getting an opportunity to listen to the interviews of all the kids who, they have those pressers, and the kids and all the players get to talk. I heard Restrepo today. I heard Kinchins. I heard a bunch of them talking about one thing, and that's being serious and being accountable. And, I know it sounds trite, but you play the way you practice. And I've always bought into that, because, back to the Allen Iverson days when he used to go, practice isn't important, but it's very important from a team concept. It's everything. So I think Miami's had, the last 3 weeks during this summer practice, a lot has changed every day. That's not the same as in the past, guys. We used to wait and hope for things to change, but you talk to a player, you talk to a coach, and there's been progress made every day. And yeah, they're going to go out there on Saturday. It's going to be running through the smoke. Mario running through that smoke for the first time in what? A long time.
Long time.
Yeah, he's going to be pumped up. And I think the players are going to feed off that energy. And I don't care who they're playing. Frankly, doesn't matter who they will be playing tomorrow or on Saturday. It's going to be all about the energy. It's going to be all within themselves and not, they're not going to worry about the opponent. They can't ever worry about the opponent, because if they start looking ahead or start looking at the opponent and not playing their game, then that's when trouble happens. And I think we played too much of that. We played too much of that Central Michigan stuff and all that in the past. So I just think you get back to good butt-kicking football. And I think that they'll take care of business the next 2 weeks and then prepare themselves for, the first real test. And to me, I think this is a year where they set the table, like Vish was saying. Yeah, they probably won't win the national title this year. But what you do this year is you set the table for next year. So at this time, everybody's got, well, Miami could do this if this guy comes in and that guy comes in. So I think it's one of those years, and I think it all starts Saturday. The thing that's mind-boggling is they've distributed 46,000 tickets. When does that ever happen for basically any game outside of Florida State game? Let alone Bethune Cookman. And I think what's going to happen, so a lot of people are going to come. They're going to enjoy the heck out of themselves. They'll be back next week. And, new fans are, the same fans are going to come, but we're going to have new fans as well. And that's the exciting part.
So real quick before we go to the giveaway, the other thing, just to touch on one thing Larry talked about, which was, how someone like Mark Pope came as a 5-star and was never coached up. I would say the other thing, you can finally feel good about the program from that standpoint as well, because the kids we bring in, even when we miss on like the 5-star, they still have a lot of great options for where they can go play.
Right.
And we were not putting them in a position to succeed. And we, frankly, as a program, were letting class after class of kids down, selling them on this dream of Miami, and then giving them inadequate instruction when they came here. And that's done now. So it does also just make you feel better about the program and what we're doing with because this is more than a football program. It's a staple in the South Florida community, and there's a responsibility to that community. And it's been 20 years since we've really lived up to it. So it's good to see.
Let's do it then, right? Are we?
All right, here we go.
Are we ready to go? Here's the contest giveaway, and I'm actually going to do something a little different. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Caneswear. They are partnering with us on, on this giveaway. We do appreciate everybody that commented, that followed, that liked, that tagged, to friends on the Instagram page on that photo. We truly appreciate you guys participating. We've got quite a few people, as you can see, this beautiful wheel here that we're going to spin in a second to find out who wins. But not only are we going to do that, but us here at the Six Rings Canes we're gonna add an extra winner. So we're gonna add an extra winner and give you guys an extra gift card as well.
Nice.
But listen, Caneswear is awesome. They're right there off of I guess I want to say 27th Avenue because I think of Miami, but it's right there in Davie. It's absolutely amazing place to go shop and get some of your Canes gear. So if you ever are out there, if you ever need some Canes gear, I'm sure a lot of you know about it. Make sure you go see my buddy Brett and his whole entire staff out there at Caneswear up in Davie and get your gear. I know some of you have bought some gear from there. I know everybody knows a little bit about Caneswear, but they've always treated me right. Brett, his whole entire staff, they always have the latest and best gear for you Canes fans. So make sure you guys go check it out.
Online too, caneswear.com. Yes. I order a bunch of crap off there because I don't live in Miami, so it shows up.
Exactly. So make sure you go to caneswear.com or go out there and see my buddy Brett over at Caneswear. We should pop the address up in a second, but we'll do that. We'll do that towards the end. I
think it's on University. Is that what
it is? On University. Yeah, it's on University over in Davie, close to Nova. Literally.
Not far at all.
So make sure you guys get it. But without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and spin this wheel and
so we're spinning it twice, right?
Yeah, we're spinning it twice. We're gonna get out the first gift card, And by the way, we got Flo backstage. We're going to bring him on right after this. Let's go ahead and spin that wheel one time. One time. Here we go. The anticipation. Oh, no, I can't.
Wheel of Fortune.
Never done this before. And the winner is DeReal_CJV3. That's DeReal_CJV3.
Nice.
We'll make sure. Let me just write it down just in case.
I was about to say, someone write that down.
CJV3. Definitely hit us up back. Give us a shout out. Hit us up on the chat or shoot us a DM on Instagram or Twitter. This is what we're gonna do. All right. If you guys don't claim the prize tonight, might have to go off with another. We might have to spin the wheel again and announce another winner. So make sure you guys hit us up, and we'll get that going for you with that gift card to Caneswear. And here is the Caneswear / 5 Reasons Sports 6 Rings Canes spin for another gift card. We're gonna go ahead and do it. Let's do it. Go ahead.
Hoping it doesn't land on the same one.
Yeah, really. Took it longer to introduce it than to spin it.
No kidding. I'm not good at this spin the wheel stuff. This is Wheel of Fortune stuff here.
Someone else.
All right, there we
Wow.
go.
There you go.
Canes,
Sean Taylor
Sean
fan.
Taylor
fan.
Canes 26, 26, 26, and 26. You are our second winner. By the way, it was so hard for me to write this earlier today. I was like, Canes, I know I'm missing a 26. So
what's another one?
Congratulations. No, you know what? We'll give them some time to kind of hit us up and claim your prize, and maybe we'll spin the wheel towards the end if we don't hear from you guys. So, but for now, those are your two winners: DeReal_CJV3 and Canes 26262626.
Just real quick in the chat, we got the address. Actually, we have two addresses. So I got University Drive and
there you go, Fernando.
And I got South Davie Drive. So I'm not.
I know it's South University. It's
it's University.
Yeah, okay.
That's the right one. That's the right.
There
one.
you go.
So,
all
right. So, without further ado, let's bring him on. Our guest of the night. There he is.
What's up, boys?
Mr. Flo. What's going on, brother?
How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Hyped
Game
up,
week.
man.
Game
Hyped
week.
up. 3 days away. Not only are we 3 days away from some football, but we are 3 days away from some tailgating, baby, in that beautiful stadium, right on the track, Flo.
Hey, see, I'm not even on 10 seconds, and you're going right to the spot.
I had to, man. I
can't, man. I can't. I don't understand. I mean, I know, at least for me, growing up, tailgating to me is almost as fun as the game. I just don't understand. What else are they going to build there? They're going to put a mall there soon. Watch.
Yeah, they got everything else.
Yeah, I don't even understand. It's the experience the experience. I'm hopeful that I am just overthinking this, and I'm gonna go Saturday, and everything's gonna be just fine. That's I'm gonna go there optimistic.
It is. Look, they took everything down, right? And me and Vish were there at the race. We know everything that was up there. The only thing that's really in the way now, is the grid, the actual track itself. They've taken down all the seating. So it's still a pain in the ass, right? Like, we know that, and especially with the tennis courts and everything that they're trying to build around there. So it's still going to be a pain, but I think it's going to be better than I think most people think it will.
I hope you're right, bro.
Cautiously optimistic, man. Cautiously optimistic here. So, but anyways, getting right down to it, we're all obviously really excited. We're talking, I heard, and I think Blue heard also, he was on the call for Mario Cristobal and a couple of the players, X and Cam and some of the other guys that were on today. And, some of the media kept asking him questions like, it's so exciting for you to be here now, right? You're finally the coach for the Miami Hurricanes. How excited are you? What type of feeling do you have running through that smoke again? And now as the head coach of UM, he was like, basically, right? I'm not paraphrasing. I'm just putting it in my own words, but it's like I really don't care. I just want to get my guys lined up and focused and ready to go and win the football game. That's all I care about. And then it echoes the same sentiment with the players, right? So everybody is so lined up, right? Flo, talk to me a little bit about how how this culture is starting to shift so much already with Coach Cristobal, the whole staff. But like when you hear that coming from him, right? Like not like, oh, I'm so excited. This has been a dream come true. Like he says it at the end. He goes, it's obvious. Like I'm excited to be here. But like his first focus is winning football games.
Right.
Forget about everything else.
Yeah, I think that Miami wasn't the exciting job for all the coach candidates that were out there. It needed to be a specific type of guy to turn this type of place. The DNA needed to be from down here, in my opinion. But he also had to have, some experience, clearly where he's been around. He's got an eye for talent, right? He can evaluate really well. And the best word that describes that man, and I think a lot of people would agree with me, he's just relentless. I mean, he's just a relentless guy. And it was going to take something like that to turn the ship around. I mean, I know that he played here. I know that he coached here. I know that, family here. He's from down here, Columbus. I understand all that. And I'm not minimizing that. But that wasn't going to be enough. In my opinion, one of the things that we're hearing, a lot of us that are around the program is that it was worse than he thought. Like he knew it was going to be a tough, but there's been some rumblings that like, man, we were really, really in a much worse place than he actually thought. But I think the thing that is not talked about enough, and Mario should get all the credit, in my opinion, but I think you got to mention Radakovich and Zoe. I really believe that when you're aligned like that with that type of experience, that type of mentality in a row, that line like that, it's almost difficult to fail, right? It's almost difficult to fail. But the main thing for me with him is that, I can't believe they asked him that question, because I bet you that man hasn't thought about that for 1 second. I bet you all he thinks about is recruiting, getting them right, organized. What time should we get on the bus? Let's do a walkthrough. That walkthrough wasn't good enough. Like, I'm sure it's in his blood, and he's probably going to go to tears inside, running out of that smoke. I'm sure. But I don't know if you'll see it. I mean, he's so militant, and that's what it was going to take. He's so militant. I think that was somebody, I can't take credit for that. I heard somebody else say that, and I mean that in a positive way, right? He's just a militant mindset, but I think he's an offensive line background, right? So you already see that grit, that toughness. We're going to be physical. But the one thing, I think I said it on your show last time I was on, was he's big enough to hire people that are smarter than him. And I think that is another thing that's not talked about. I mean, Kevin Steele, Charlie Strong, the guys that have no problem that Zoe's there over him. Not over him, but you know what I mean? Like, no problem. Yes, it makes us better. It makes us better. And he talks about our sports science. He talks about our recovery, our health and recovery department. Like, he surrounds himself with elite people where he's just a manager, kind of, if you think about it. We're blessed. I mean, it's people need to pump the brakes, though. This is going to be 3 to 5 year build, so chill out. But I think you could not have gotten a better candidate. Could not have.
Here's what I think, and we'll kind of move into season outlook as well on this. But I think the perfect way to say it is, everybody, whether you like it or not, you got to check your ego at the door before you step into that program, to anything to do with the University of Miami. Check your ego at the door, because there's no egos. I mean, there's big egos on this staff. There's big egos, but they're all checked. They're all aligning with each other, and the cohesiveness, I think, is what you're going to start to see the product on the field, kind of come to fruition, because it's validation. And Flo, I spoke about this right on your show on Sunday. For me, the biggest thing is I want to see the validation. And I want to see all the hard work and all the money and all the time and everything that Coach Cristobal is doing come to life on the football field, and translate to W's, and then translate to success and culture change and yada, all the stuff, that all the cliches that we throw out there on a constant basis. We want to see all that happen. And I think that in order to do that, you got to check your ego at the door. So, I don't know if anybody else wants to add to that. Maybe Blue or Vish or DJ, if you guys want to add to what Flo was saying there with regards to Coach Cristobal.
Yeah, well, I'll add to it. He's 100% right. This is a no-nonsense deal. I mean, this is all business now. Obviously, he heaps praise on a lot of the kids when they do well, but I think he spends more time talking with them about the culture and about what he expects and what the school expects, how they handle themselves. You could see during the interviews, the players are a lot more guarded now. They don't say a lot of the things that they have in the past. And here's a perfect example when Xavier Restrepo was asked today about how this regime differs from the last one. And he just politely said, you know what? They were them, and this new regime is what they are. And, he politely, because he could have, answered and got himself in trouble. So
he basically said, I'm not going to talk about the previous regime. I'm just going to talk about what we're doing now.
Exactly. So, and I think that, when you talk to him, Mario, he is obsessed. He's obsessed to the point where he was given the keys to a car that he's longed to drive. And this is something like, we talked about this before. When he hired all these coaches, they understood that this is no 9-to-5 job. I mean, there's a lot of schools that, have ice cream parties and have a nice little time. It's not the way it is here. This is a business show right now. Private school, it depends on donations and grants. And I think that what he's getting out of all these players right now is maximum effort, improvement. And I'm just looking forward to last year's. You look at the Alabama game last year, and they had 24 missed tackles. 24 missed tackles in the opening game. Flo, that's not going to happen this time around.
Amen to that. Amen to that. You know what? You brought up something that I'm really excited to talk about, right? And that's player development, right? You kind of mentioned how these players are. This is different for them, and you're starting to see a lot of these, players that maybe we didn't speak about so much before, kind of all of a sudden be the guy there, like, wow, this guy's starting to show up. This guy's making plays in practice. This guy might be a starter, right? This guy, and so on and so forth. And now you're starting to see that, and that's kind of where I wanted to kind of turn my attention to, because Flo, I know we talk about it ad nauseum, Blue, Vish, DJ. We talk about it all the time, right? Like, we know it's a TVD show. We know that. Do we really know? Maybe okay. Let me rephrase that, right? Because maybe some of us might know a little more than what is out there, right? But like, nobody knows. Okay, let's just put it that way. Nobody really knows aside from that, and it doesn't really matter who the starters are or not. But nobody knows. Hey, this guy's the one that's really balling at. Oh, this guy has a couple of drops, 15 minutes into practice. Like, that's all garbage, right? So what I really kind of want to get into is, and I want to get everybody's idea, thoughts on this. Is there a specific, this is the first thing I want with regards to this whole entire season outlook is there a specific position group that you feel or that you think is going to be better than what people think? And I know there's some of the obvious ones, but I want to get your ideas, your thoughts on maybe a name. Like, give me a name that you think out of that position group that's really going to surprise some people, and how good that position group could possibly be. Flo, I'm going to start off with you.
I'm going to say wide receiver. They're getting all the heat right now, kind of like the linebackers were last year. You hear there's not much talk about linebackers all of a sudden when you bring in a tackle that's the size of a skyscraper and a transfer Mike that plays the Mike that is just big, fast with a bunch of snaps, right? You're not hearing the linebackers too much all of a sudden. But all you keep hearing is drops and drops and drops. And I'm going to tell you, and I would be surprised if Blue doesn't back me on this. Romello Brinson is that guy. I mean, his DNA alone, and forget he's got good size and he loves competition. He went up against great corners. I know everybody keeps bringing up the one corner from Florida, Marshall, but he killed a lot of corners with a very subpar quarterback. And that's not disrespecting the quarterback over there, but that quarterback, if he was a little bit better, Brinson would have put up video game phone numbers, not and phone numbers. But here's my thing: he had he came in last year. He had a little injury. But and from what I hear, I didn't see the interview, but I heard Mario say that he's a little inconsistent, but he's coming. He's progressing today.
He did say that. Yep.
Listen, I'm not good at stats and all that stuff, but my eyes very rarely deceive me. And I'm willing to bet Brinson is going to be a difference maker once he gets on the field and really understands this offense. I know people will talk about Keyshawn and X, and they deserve all the credit in the world. But when I get upset, and this is just my personal opinion, when people say we don't have a number one on this team, I'm telling you, if Brinson is healthy and he's developed correctly, which I believe he will be, that's a number one guy. He can do a little bit of what all the receivers can do on that, and he can play in multiple positions there. He's not just an X or a Y or a slot. Brinson can play across the board, in my opinion. I'm excited to see him this season. God willing, he stays healthy. But I would say Romello Brinson.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
What's your thoughts? Yeah.
To back that up, the one guy that we all kept thinking that would be the guy is Jacoby George, and he keeps finding ways to screw up. I mean, and that's, and I think on this team, you're going to have limited chances because there's too many hungry people out there. And Romello Brinson, he's just got to be given that opportunity. He hasn't really been given that opportunity. And I agree with you, Flo. If he gets that opportunity, he's going to seize the moment, I think.
It's a good choice. It's a good choice on your end. DJ, give me a position that you really think is going to surpass expectations, and give me one player from that position.
All right, well, I can give you a player, John Campbell. I think, he's a guy that he's started for Miami before. He had injury issues last year, missed the entire season. Mario absolutely raved about him over the course of camp, and I really think he can have another strong year on the line. The line is a position that, we've talked about needing to develop some pieces, but the potential is there. And I think, Campbell can get a fresh start with this coaching staff, with Alex Mirabal, with Mario Cristobal, and he's already been there, done that in terms of having in-game action. So I'm really excited to see what he can do under this coaching staff because, like for a lot of these players probably, it's a brand new day in Coral Gables.
I love that. I like that pick.
I love that pick. Great pick.
That's an interesting one for sure. Vish, talk to me, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna steal Fernie's from the chat. I had written off DJ Ivy, and I'm hearing Mario talk about him, and Mario's a preacher, man. He convinces me. He convinces the players to convince me. I'm like, man, DJ Ivy's gonna be an All-American. What are we talking about here? So, but I kind of put him out. The reason I'm picking him as like my surprise person to contribute, I had kind of put him out of sight, out of mind, frankly. I mean, we did the whole position breakdown a few weeks ago, and we didn't even really, in passing, we're like, well, he's still around. And
yeah.
And, the way Mario was talking about him, it sure felt like he's got big plans for him. So he's someone that's always looked the part. He's got the physical measurements. It just never came together. And we talk about, the previous staff and how they weren't developing players and, we're kind of letting down some of our players. He could be a very good example of that with better coaching that could take that next step. So
yeah,
I'm stealing yours, Fernie.
And you know what, Vish? He's the ultimate team player. And all the way back to South Dade, I always remember him, what he would do before the game. He'd make sure all the kids' shoulder pads were on. He'd go and ask them if they want water. I mean, he's the ultimate team player. Very intelligent young man. Everybody loves him. Nobody ever said a negative thing. That's a great guy. And I'm glad he's come on the way he has, because I'd hate him to go through his career and not get that recognition.
Listen, I'll say, go ahead, Flo.
I was just going to say what's crazy about, he's always been, we call him the All-American at practice, right? And then he's
right.
He had some obstacles in the games. But what's crazy is every time NFL scouts come to watch practice, they absolutely, they rave over him. Like, they love him. Absolute. The NFL guys love him, which is insane because it should translate at some point, right? So hopefully it's this year. I'm rooting for him.
If he puts it all together, that's a scary secondary.
Absolutely.
With some of those pieces.
And also having like another coach on the field, because he knows everybody's deal, and he's a very intelligent kid. Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to go with one, Flo. You mentioned it, right? Not a lot of people are talking about it because Caleb Johnson is there. Keontre Smith has gained some weight. He looks good in
You're
practice.
stealing my guy.
I bet. I don't think I am. I don't think I am, Blue.
All right.
And I'm going to make it quick because I want to hear your take on this for sure. But I'm going to say someone that Flo loves. I think we all love him. But I think that linebacker core is going to be, first of all, it's going to be too deep because I think that Wayman Steed and Corey Flagg are practicing well. I'm not saying that they're going to be absolute studs on the field when the lights turn on. But, I mean, having those guys as your depth with the experience that they have and a new coach, right, and Charlie Strong back there, I think that this is going to be a different Flag and a different Steed you're going to see. But I'm not going to go with those guys. I'm going to go with Chase Smith. I think Chase –
I love him.
Chase Smith is going to be the best linebacker when the season is done on this team. I mean, maybe that's a stretch.
I hope so.
But I think he's the real deal. Talk about size. Talk about, sideline to sideline speed. Talk about, his aggression and the way that he plays. Woo, that's a scary boy right there, man. And he's up to like 225 right now. He'll probably he's probably going to be around 225, 230. Now when season starts, you kind of don't really gain weight. But, man. And he's all of 6'3", 6'4", too. Like I don't know. Yeah, I've seen him in person. Like I know a lot of us have, but I've stood next to him. And Flo, obviously, I was with you, but that kid is the truth. And I like Chase Smith. Blue, I know who you're gonna mention. Go ahead, mention him. Go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna mention the guy that you just mentioned. And nothing beats productivity. And I will tell you this. You could be 5'11", 170, but if you're making every single tackle, and this guy we have put, you talk about pushing people under the background. We really rarely even mention him in the depth chart because we go, oh, well, he's too small. But Corey Flagg is the guy who can make tackles. He's a sure tackler. He's in the lineup. He's starting. Okay, so we all pushed him out, but he's starting on Saturday. Because why? Because Mario Cristobal said, listen, I don't care what size they are. As long as they make tackles, he'll stay in that lineup into the end of the season. So I think Corey Flagg, because of his experience, the way he shined last year when everybody else stunk, I mean, and they did. They were terrible. And he led the team in tackles. He was as sure a tackler as you had, and maybe small. And I'm not going to discount that he is. But Sean Smith wasn't very big. He was always around the ball. Jesse Armstead wasn't very big. He was always around the ball. There's just something about playmakers. There's just something about guys who have instincts, and I think he's going to shine. We're going to look at the stat sheet after the Bethune-Cookman game and the Southern Mississippi game, and he'll fill it up as much as anybody.
Maybe you guys could kind of tell me if I'm wrong or I'm right here. And this is what I keep saying about Corey Flagg. I think Corey Flagg does what he does it well, right? Like if you put him in a position where he's not good at something, he's going to look out of place. He's not going to look productive. And I think you saw that a lot last year where he was asked to do, I think, more than what maybe Corey Flagg can do, right? So you take away from the fact that he was a pretty sure tackler. He made some plays, but now you're asking him to cover people. You're asking him to run side on the sideline. That's not his thing, right? He's more of a north-south type of guy. So I think that what they asked him to do last year is not necessarily what he's good at anyway. So I think that, and I think Kevin Steele said this, right? Like we are going to call the plays and we are going to run this defense based off of what my players are good at doing.
And to your point, remember this: every team is based on you have a one receiver, you have a two, you have a three, you have a running back that can catch the ball out of the backfield. A great team is complemented by others. You look in basketball, if you have a point guard and you have a shooting guard, and if that shooting guard usually, if he has guys around him that that could draw the attention away, and that's why if you remember HB Blades. He's a perfect example of this. HB Blades was never a guy that you're going to put in there and he's going to go sideline to sideline and gobble up everything. He needed help. He was a great tackler because he let people funnel the play towards him. I think that's what Corey Flagg does better. He's a great tackler. Okay, he, like you said, he may not be able to cover, and he may not be able to do other things. But you have players like Caleb Johnson. You have other players to kind of complement him, and that's why I say he's going to look better because of the people around him.
Flo, you got time for 2 more questions?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm here.
Okay.
Like I just want to echo. Like,
yeah, go ahead.
Listen, here's what I'm gonna say about the linebacker room: Charlie Strong and Kevin Steele. You know, the scheme alone is going to be more sound, which is going to help these young men. Just the scheme alone, and again, that D line is going to be night and day better than it was last year. So they're not going to be able. Those offensive line are not going to be able to climb up to that second level and put their hands on our linebackers. I'm a big fan of the work ethic and the leadership and the study that Corey Flagg does. I need to see him do it on the field. That's all I'm asking, because I don't see, and I'm not going against Blue at all, but I just don't see how he's going to get on the field over Caleb so far, right? And that's just because I think Caleb can do very similar things, but he's bigger and faster. So it's to me, but Blue made a really good point that nobody in the chat and nobody on the show can argue. I'll bet you Steed and Corey are the starting linebackers on Saturday. And that means Strong and Steele signed off on that. So they know something that clearly I and all of us don't know, that are attacking Corey. It's funny. I just talked about Corey in a Discord chat the other day. And I was like, listen, the smoke is real. Like, he's really progressed. They're not just saying that to put it out there and then they're going to, opie-dope us. Corey's apparently is really progressed in his defense. So I can see it happening. I totally can see it happening.
And I'll tell you this before we move on. Any Canes fans that are wishing that he doesn't succeed, that he doesn't do well because he's Corey Flagg, because we got Caleb Johnson, that ain't it, bro. Like, that ain't it, right? Like,
that's not a real fan.
That's not a real fan, man. I wish.
Not.
Are you kidding me? If Corey Flagg gets me 100 tackles and a couple of a couple sacks, and you think that I'm gonna be like, well, we should have played? I don't give a crap, man. Like, if he's productive and he goes out there, that's what I want. I want Avery Huff to come in and be productive. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want. So, like, if there's anybody that's out there saying, well, we don't want Flagg on the field, I get it. I understand it, but at the same time, like, you don't want him not to be on the field because you don't want to see him do good. You know what I mean? Like, we gotta want these boys.
So on that point though, even if, let's say, you're a Caleb Johnson fan, like, I want to see him play. Imagine if Flagg is playing, what he's doing to keep him off the field.
Right.
You should be even more excited about that. It doesn't necessarily mean the guy you want to start isn't good. It just might be he's elevated above that, which is better for everyone. It's going to make the backups better to have to get playing time. It's going to make the whole team better. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't be in favor of that. The other thing is, we've spent years, decades, complaining that the coaches are not up to standard or not developing players. We finally get a great coaching staff in here. We got to give these kids another chance. You can't sit here and complain year after year that talent development isn't happening, kids aren't being put in a position to succeed, and then they're going out there and playing poorly because of it. And then new coaches come in and we hold those old performances against the players.
Right.
That doesn't even make any sense. If we were saying the coaches were a problem, they're failing the players, then don't they have a chance to at least prove themselves that, hey, it wasn't me. Now I'm being put in a better position to succeed. And you know what? Yeah. We have a couple of games here to work on these things. So if they don't perform, the backups will come in. That's fine. Yeah. But to me, it should be a clean slate for everyone. We can't sit here and rail against the coaches year upon year upon year. Get high-quality coaches in here and immediately go back to the past and say, well, that performance that player put on, that's what he is. Right. That doesn't add up. Otherwise, why do we change coaches?
Right. Facts. Before we talk a little bit about the Bethune Cookman game, because I obviously want to talk about that, I want to get everybody's dark horse standout player this year for the Hurricanes. I you know me.
Didn't I just give it to you?
No, you gave me a linebacker. aside from the guys that you mentioned.
Wait, we just did this question.
We gave positions, right? What position you think was going to do good, and what guy you think is going to stand out?
We kind of did
just
do this question. I mean, I gotta agree with the guys here. We kind of really,
they're killing you, Jazz.
Just did this question.
Killing you, Jazz. Look. Listen.
Come on, Flo. You got to admit that
how
it's
about
pretty
you
much
guys?
A parallel thing there.
Listen. How about you guys get a little comprehension in your life and listen to what I'm saying.
Getting outvoted here.
I don't care. I'm the host of this show. I can kick all your asses out of here. All right.
Actually, I can actually kick you out the other way.
Good luck hosting. All right.
Yeah, we don't want to go back to that. Never mind. Jazz, the floor is yours.
I asked you guys for a position, right? A position that you thought that was going to be better than everybody thinks, and what player out of that position. Now I'm asking you for an overall player. So an overall player, your dark horse athlete, period, on the whole entire team that's going to come out and perform better than, maybe a guy that nobody really hears about much. It doesn't matter what position it is. Does that make sense now for all my illiterate friends out there? Not non-Flo, because Flo didn't back you guys up.
I don't want to get kicked out, so I'm just gonna stay quiet.
Don't worry, I got the controls.
Go ahead, Flo.
I'll say Harrison Hunt. I think people don't realize he put on some weight. He was flashy last year in that defensive scheme. There was a mess. It wasn't, no gap integrity, whatever. It was just a mess. I think Harrison Hunt now it has a chance to really surprise some people this year. That's just my opinion. And things that I'm hearing, he's quiet. He's very, and any D tackle that's been in the program a little bit, and then a new regime comes in and then adds the weight and changes the style that he's playing, and he actually still excelling at it at practice, that tells me a lot, and if you're putting in the work, as Mario said, he's going to play you. He's definitely, I wouldn't even be surprised if he starts, to be honest with you guys. I would not be surprised if Harrison Hunt starts, but if he doesn't, he's definitely in that too deep. And I think he has a chance to be a breakout guy this year, especially when you can't double people now, because there's problems across that whole line. At the end of the day, before you could just single out anybody who's giving you damage because we had nobody else. So let's see. I think Harrison Hunt.
Blue, what do you think?
Well, it's down to two guys. But I'm gonna say Brashard Smith. Here's a guy who really you haven't really taken the wrapper off of him. Was that your guy?
Yeah, that's all right. I'll bring someone else up.
Because we really haven't taken the wrapper off him. I watched him in high school. He was a freak of nature. Everybody couldn't wait. I mean, Florida really wanted him really bad because of what he could do. I think as a special teams guy, as a compliment to Restrepo in the slot, I think he could really do some things, especially in the special teams. Last year, he almost returned one. He's got speed, one of the fastest guys on the team. So, with the Corey flag out of the way, I'll get in there with him. I was also going to say Keontre Smith, but because that's a guy who's as versatile as anybody, and everybody's waiting for him to grow, but he continues to get it done. But I'm going to keep with Brashard.
All right. DJ, who's your guy?
Now, I know he's not a newcomer or whatever, but I got to show love to Will Mallory. I mean, here's a guy who's been with this Miami program for quite some time now. He struggled a little bit last year, had only 347 yards, receiving. Now, granted, everybody sort of struggled at some point last year, but I think this is the year where we could really see him kind of progress and really become that not number one weapon offensively, but a key piece of the offense with stability at quarterback in Tyler Van Dyke.
This.
Yeah, took mine again. I was going with Arroyo. Fernie and I are sharing a brain today.
Ooh, the tight ends will be balling this year, baby.
Yeah. Well, as Fernie said, he even put my logic in. They're going to run a lot of 2 tight end set, I feel, and Mallory will draw the primary coverage, and you're putting Arroyo, who's a beast, against secondary linebackers and not their best cover people. I think he's going to cook on that. So. Fernie, you want to host the show next time?
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
I'm going to go on defense with Flo, and I'm going to say someone who's had it rough, man, and I think that he can come in and be a really good player, but he's definitely going to be a dark horse. I'm going to go with Al Blades Jr.
Oh, no.
I like Al Blades. I think that wherever he's going to play, whether it's corner, whether it's safety, I think he's versatile enough. I think that he's a talented kid. He's just had he's had bad luck, man. I mean, there's nothing you can do about a heart condition. You know what I mean? Like he had to sit out. But I just feel like he's the kind of guy that when it's all said and done this year, I think he's going to have a big part of that defense. And I want him to succeed. I want him to, to kind of follow in the OG's footsteps. But I really think that he can come in and he can contribute and be a guy that's going to be he's going to be a big contributor to that defense for sure. All right, kind of just shifting gears real quick. And we'll end the show with this because we only got about 10 minutes to go anyways, is Bethune Cookman, right? And this is going to be easy. I'm actually going to steal a question that that Flo asked me this weekend. I'm going to steal a question from him, and I want everybody to kind of answer this. How long do you think the starters play against Bethune Cookman? And since Flo, I'm going to go with you at the end here. I'm going to start with Vish. Vish, how long do you think they play, man?
Probably like a half, but I think they'll like rotate in and out. So I don't think it'll be like all of the. I think cumulatively probably a half, maybe a possession into the third quarter. But I think the backups will play a lot in the first half as well.
DJ, what do you think?
I'd say probably a half as well. This is a good game to see what you have in terms of depth, and it also gives a chance for the starters to kind of get their feet under them before the bigger games start.
Yeah. Mr. Bluestein?
I think all the starters are out by the mid third quarter. All the starters. I mean, they start like Vish said, they're going to start substituting, and you're going to see a lot of new faces. But I think that by the midway point of the third quarter, it'll probably be about 40-7, and everybody's going to kind of get a chance to see the 2s, 3s, and some of the 4s.
I think they're done at halftime. What do you think, Flo?
I like what everybody else is saying. I think you'll see sprinkled in coming out of second half a little bit. They'll be sprinkled in. I think TVD is the first one that's gone. He might not even make it to halftime, to be honest with you. I'd be surprised if TVD makes it to halftime, but I think they'll be still sprinkled in a little bit, there'll be some key pieces that you'll be able to. I think that's going to be a good tell where the coaches think certain guys are, to see who gets off the field the quickest, if you know what I mean, right? Like,
yeah,
who they protecting a little more than the other ones. I think it'll give you a little tell.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, definitely. I think that, but here's the thing also, right? Like if you're, I don't want to say paying attention to what the coaches are saying, but if you're listening to what they're saying, right? Like they're still kind of feeling it out, right? They still don't know who's like your main guys, right? Your starters at a few positions. So I think that the starters, I don't know. I think you're still going to, like you said, see sprinkled in the second half.
Yeah, I'll just say that, you're not going to know nothing until Texas A&M. Absolutely nothing, in my opinion. I think this is just practice for them. I really believe that this is more of a practice, kind of just making sure that things are moving the right way, whatever. Texas A&M, whoever comes out for Texas A&M is when I'm going to say, all right, that is a real starter. That's a real, that rotation is more honest now. Right now, I'll be surprised if Zion plays a snap. I'd be surprised if Zion plays a snap on Saturday. That would shock me if Zion would play a snap. Not that he can't, but I'd be surprised if they even, and I bet he plays maybe a quarter and a half, 2 quarters next week. I mean,
but also this is the first real tackling since last December.
True.
So that's something you have to keep in mind too. The very fact that, remember, during the spring they did very little of it. They don't do very much of it during the course of the year just to stay healthy. But the last time they had it was last December. So that could be interesting too, because now nobody's going to hold up,
right?
And so on either side. So it should be interesting. I mean, I agree with you guys. I mean, I expect that to be, they're going to have some of the starters in at different positions that probably haven't been answered yet into the third quarter. But other than that, I agree. I think that Tyler Van Dyke is in street clothes by the fourth quarter.
There you go.
For sure. All right. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to have to do it. Season predictions, right? Like, what are we
Oh,
feeling?
boy.
Yeah, we're gonna snake it right back around with you, Flo. Season prediction, where you want to see them at the end of the year. I don't know if a specific bowl game, but because geez, that's tough. There's like 87 bowl games, but
Yeah.
what's your outlook for the season?
I'm not sure as far as like, I mean, I'm hopeful that we win all our games, but I think we're going to go 9-3. I'm a little different. Everybody thinks we're going to win 10, 11 games. I respect that. I think we have the roster to do that, because we're in the ACC. But I think realistically, the biggest fear I have being involved with this kind of thing with you guys and doing our own stuff and just, I'm not seeing patience from our fans, bro, at all.
Oh God,
and they're not understanding how. I mean, if you know football, it doesn't work like this. Like, I think 9-3 is a good year as long as the optics are good, right? And I'm just not sure we're ready for Clemson 2 times in 3 weeks. And people don't realize that we have a real beautiful schedule throughout the year, but we go Clemson, Pitt, and then probably Clemson again, right, if everything goes the way we think it's going to go. I mean, and so you got to be realistic. I mean, it's great to wish and hope, and I'm going to be there screaming my lungs out for that. But I really think it's going to be 9-3. I'll be happy as long as the optics are good. 9-3. I don't know what bowl game, but I hope we get like a Florida in the bowl game or someone like that. I'd love to get.
Florida's got to get bowl eligible.
Hey, listen. Hey. I'm telling you right now, that guy might not be able to recruit this up there, but that coaching staff he's assembled, and you're right, so you should know. I know you know this, bitch. That coaching staff he's assembled are teachers, and they got dogs. That's Florida Gators still. I mean, I don't like the Gators, but they have dogs up there. You give them teachers. I'd be, I'm not. I hope all the Florida teams lose except for Miami, but I'd be that Utah game is going to be interesting to me. I'll just leave it at
that. Yeah. All right, Blue. What's your outlook for the season?
Well, I kind of I'll play on Flo with 2 things. First of all, I spent 4 days up there during the summer, so I could tell you their coaching is really good. Really good, and I mean they got kids. I mean they got not a lot of depth on the team, but I see Miami winning 9 and losing 3 as well. I think obviously the A&M game, the Clemson game, and Miami always loses one game that they shouldn't lose. And
let's hope that changes this year.
Huh?
Let's hope that changes this year.
Well, we hope so. But even if you remember, even in the good times, they lost to East Carolina and they lost to Mississippi State. So, I mean, that's going to happen. I mean, this is college football. And, with the scholarship limits now and the transfer portal, everybody has a fair chance in every game. So, because I remember back when they were beating West Virginia 56-7 and Melvin Bratton was riding a bicycle at halftime. So I think, I think 9-3 would be a realistic. And I do want to say to Flo, you didn't just arrive here now. The Hurricane fans have been like this forever. They're not realistic. They're just not realistic.
Yeah, that's true.
They're not patient.
That's true. We got 2 minutes here, DJ. Give me your outlook real quick.
9-3. I think the Texas A&M game and then the Clemson and Pittsburgh games at the end of the year are going to give Miami a bit of trouble.
Gotcha. Vish, what do you think, man?
I'll give you 2. To me, 9-3 at a minimum. I think anything worse that would be disappointing because when you start talking about who did we lose to and there's something in there that's not good. But I think 11 is possible. I think there's 2 games that you look at and you're like, all right, you could play well and lose. That's Clemson and Texas A&M. And I'm not going to go the blue route and say, well, we're going to blow another game. so I'll go 11. I'll go 11-1. We'll win one of those 2 games.
All right.
And part of that is obviously I think people that watch the show know I have ties to College Station, and I can't respect that program.
born in Houston, Texas.
Well, I was born in College Station.
College Station, actually. Yeah.
Wow.
That's right. Yeah.
And I've watched that team win 8 games my entire life, and I just can't sit there and have everyone like they're ranked 6th. I can't see it. I can't mentally get it.
The fan base hates us, and they love Vish now. So
I'm gonna go right in between. I'll say 10-2. We'll figure out a way to get to the ACC championship game for sure in a bowl game. So, Flo, let them know where they can find you, man.
We have shows all week. They're all over the place. I'm on Sundays. I like to always say this. I think we're the only show or that's out there that all our donations we try to turn around and do NIL deals for the players and just give back. And just be patient, guys. Be patient. Everybody who's watching, be patient. We're on the right track. Just breathe. Just breathe a little bit. That's all. Thanks for having me on. By the way, I love all you guys. I'm a big fan. I think DJ's smarter than all you guys, just for the record.
He's
And I just want to
Because
make
he
sure
never says anything, so that's the best.
That's a smart one. It's a smart one. Yeah.
Hey, but when he does say stuff, he hits. I'm like, oh, I'm like, okay, he knows his stuff.
No, he does. He sits
appreciate
up there
that.
in Boston and he just he just plots.
I do. That's a good word. I plot. I do.
Well,
I do.
unfortunately, we did not have time to get to Nebraska. Already
We didn't.
season over.
No,
We
no
didn't.
Nebraska. No Nebraska.
Wow, that
rough
was
one.
awful.
That was a rough one on Saturday.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that
that
right
was.
now.
Flo, I'll see you out there on Saturday. I think Vish might see you out there on Saturday too, right, Vish?
Come by, guys.
Yeah,
Come by.
I'll be in Miami.
Vish will be in
I don't know
Miami.
what my plans
And-
are.
and
but
Blue, of
I'll
course.
be at the game for sure.
Yeah.
Blue, we
I'll
all
be
got to
there
get together.
We're gonna Jazz and I will do a little short pregame from upstairs.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, yeah, man. I appreciate y'all having me on, man. Thank you so much.
You got it,
Thanks,
brother.
Flo.
Thank you. We'll see you Saturday. All right, guys. Really quick, let's do our price picks and get out of here because I know we got another show. But you want to do price picks really quick, Vish, or the F1? You're muted, but the F1 people, our F1 fans can wait. I think Fernie likes this show anyway. So price picks, pricepicks.com, the official daily fantasy app of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Make sure you're using the code 5. That's the letters FIVE. Price Picks will match your initial deposit up to $100. Use the code 5 when you sign up. You don't even have to spend it all at once. You can play the NHL, the NBA, you can play the NFL, you can play so many different things. What's great about it is that you can even pair players from different teams and different sports. That's the beauty of it. Here's how it works. Pick 2 to 5 players, then play the over-under on individual categories. Again, it all depends on how much you want to win, is how many players you pick. Go to pricepicks.com, sign up today using the code 5, F-I-V-E, and they will match your initial deposit up to $100. Pricepicks.com. Thank you so much for everybody who was watching. Thank you for the winners, the real _ CJV3. Canes Sean Taylor, that's what I'm going to call him. Or her, him or her. Canes 26. If you weren't on the show or if you were and you didn't let me know, you have until the end of the night. If not, we'll spin the wheel. We'll video and we'll put it up. And we'll get another winner, whoever it is at this point.
So it's in the crawl. Next week we're moving to Monday. So
oh yes, we are moving. Yes, don't forget we're moving to Mondays next week. So next week, same time, 8:30 p.m. on Mondays, and we'll have a breakdown of the Bethune Cookman game. Follow us on Twitter at 6 Rings Canes. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel, and give us a like. Smash the like button, and we'll see you guys for pre-game for Bethune Cookman. Go Canes! See you.